Judaism being analogous to some sort of, I was going to say Unitarianism, but a Unitarianism in which the emphasis is on certain ideals for humankind and for nature as a whole, rather than on personal relationship to a moral deity who's concerned with justice and love. Get the distinction?
Would he say that all religions have some sort of truth about the essence of God? And basically that his is what they shall be?
Well, yeah, I don't know whether he would say that. I think he would have to say probably that all religions are really confused understandings of the God who is the one all-inclusive being, such as he has spelled out. I think he'd have to say that. And I think he would probably say that some are more confused than others, which I guess anybody who has a preference would say anyway. But he would say it about all.
One quick question. As a rationalist, is his program for getting rid of our confused, indistinct ideas through inner reflection? Or how does he see that we get
How do you clarify your ideas? Yeah. And I think his response is really twofold. One, by the kind of contemplation which involving what? An inner Socratic kind of dialectic gets ideas cognitively clear. But secondly, in dispelling emotion, which confuses and distracts our thinking. So you need a focused and undistracted mind, okay? Now, those two things I pick up, not only from Spinoza, but from his predecessor Descartes, who, when he's talking about clear and distinct ideas, talks about a concentration of an undistracted mind, or words to that effect, you see. Tie that into the theory of emotions, and you get the two criteria. Now, I thought you were going to, when you started, I thought you were going to ask this question. If that is the way we gain freedom, but if we are in no sense free to choose to do it, how do we get ourselves to do it? You see? And the only thing that I can say to that is that there is, I guess we have it over here, there is this pervasive drive that runs through nature, including our mental meanderings. So that you're like the cat with a mouse. You won't let it go, you see. In fact, isn't that what's going on now? We won't let Spinoza go. You see, we want to get clear. Just how can this be? Yeah, so it's as if there is a natural drive that keeps pushing us, Yeah. And when we think we're choosing to concentrate on this, it's really the alternation between some confusing emotion and the other. Okay. All right, now, in leaving Spinoza, don't imagine that we're leaving this kind of agenda. We're not. In fact, this segment of the board, I've put up a very summary comparison between Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz on three of the main features in Spinoza's agenda. Namely, the relationship between the one and the many, a theme which goes back to the pre-Socratics, the mind-body issue, and freedom and determinism. And obviously, these are the key themes all the way through. In the case of Descartes, you've got a dualism, of course, of mind and body. A dualism within a theistic context, so let's call it a theistic dualism. Okay? And when we talk of dualism in Descartes, we're speaking qualitatively. There is a qualitative duality between mental and physical substances, thinking things and extended things. They're qualitatively different things. Distinguish a qualitative view from a quantitative view. How many minds are there? How many bodies are there? Well, I know you have only one of each, but altogether. Now that would be the quantitative. And of course the significant thing in Descartes is the fact that he is a qualitative, not a quantitative dualist, obviously. Qualitative dualist. Spinoza, we say, is a monist. Yes, he's a qualitative monist. Take it back. He's a quantitative monist. A quantitative monist. Numerically, there is one substance, one being. You see. Now, there are qualitative qualitative aspects of the one being. But he's a quantitative monist with a qualitative dualism, pluralism. Leibniz, on the other hand, is a pluralist. How many substances are there? Many, many substances. He's a quantitative pluralist, an indefinite number. Quantitative pluralist. But he's also a qualitative pluralist, because this vast number of different substances differ qualitatively by degree. By degree. What he's doing is reintroducing the medieval notion of a hierarchy of being, an analogy of being, in which all beings have analogous qualities but differ proportionately by degree. Okay? So you have degrees of difference qualitatively within the quantitative plurality of Leibniz. Now we'll flesh that out just a little while. I wanted to get the contrasts first. Okay? Now, when it comes to mind-body, Descartes, of course, causal interaction. Spinoza, of course, double aspect. Leibniz, parallelism. Yes, mind and body are different substances. Body is a very complex substance. Mind is a simple substance. But there's no causal interaction. No causal interaction. that they simply are so made and, if you like, pre-programmed that they keep step with each other, they keep time with each other perfectly. The idea corresponding to the bodily state, perfectly, prearranged, pre-orchestrated. So parallelism in the case of Leibniz. On freedom and determinism. Well, with regards to freedom of the will, Descartes is an indeterminist. The will is free to affirm or to deny. That's why it has to restrain. It has to be restrained. Spinoza is a determinist by virtue of the inner causal processes. An inner determinism. Leibniz, different again. He finds freedom and determinism compatible. Compatible. Because he's thinking of freedom not as freedom from mechanical causes, mechanistic, but as freedom to pursue goals, ends, to actualize one's inner entelechy. Does that sound like scholasticism? It is. You see, these things in Leibniz arise because he is rejecting mechanistic science as an ultimate explanation. He's not satisfied that it's ultimate enough. It's only dealing at a phenomenal level. He asks this question. This mechanistic science tells us that everything is explained in terms of matter and motion. Well, what is there when matter disintegrates and motion ceases? What's left? And his answer, not matter, but energy, force. In other words, Leibniz is conceiving of energistic physics around 1700. Energistic physics in a teleological metaphysic, where everything is end-oriented and there are inner entelechies. Yeah. Everything has its own nature. And it's in the outworking of that nature that the teleology is evident. So that initial picture then introduces what Leibniz is up to. Let's see. Yeah, let me put it this way. Leibniz, living as he does around 1700,